collected up a bunch of flowers. So we're just gonna put them together in a little mason jar just to brighten up the kitchen. So these are some of the zinnias I was telling you about that Gus, our one cat, chewed the tops off of. I assume the ones that he chewed the tops off of didn't make it because he probably would have chewed off where the flower would have come from. But look at how beautiful these are. Oh, I just can't even, like, look at all those petals. They're so beautiful. Anyways, I also forgot to harden them off. So all things considered, pretty good. So I also have some dahlias. I love this one, it's so pretty. And I don't even know what breed it is. I think this one was part of a bundle that I just picked up at the grocery store when they had them out in the spring. So I got this one. I'm pretty sure this one was also in that selection, but it's so pretty. It's a bright pink color. And then these guys I picked up from a local grower. So she sold me some tubers in the early springtime. Look how pretty they are. And honestly, I haven't been giving them the attention that I probably should have been. So they're kind of small, downward facing heads, but they'll still be pretty. And then of course some beautiful sunflowers. Look at these guys. And I don't know the kinds that these are. And then just some, I think this is 9 bark that was left here by the previous owners. It's not looking that great, so I only grabbed 1 stalk. So, but it'll kind of add some color, so that's good. So there's not really any rhyme or reason to how I do this. I just kind of plunk them in where they look nice. So that's what we're gonna do. As long as you can see that. Maybe I'll just tilt this down. There we go. And I'm sure other people would have some reasoning as to why they're putting things where they're putting them. I just like to put them in where I think they look pretty, and it kind of like breaks up the colors. This beautiful one, I'm gonna kind of make sure that she's kind of got her own little spot here. Leaf. I want her to stand out. Well, we still have her, because she probably should have been picked a few days ago, but oh, what can we do? Tuck you in there. So yeah, when I am done making up this arrangement, I'm going to be making some beer bread. So it is my fiance's, one of his favorites. It's really easy to make, so I'll bring you guys along for that journey because it's pretty fun to do. And super easy. We're just having some leftovers tonight. We have just some leftover pasta and soup, so we're just gonna do that up. I just need to grab my clippers. I'll be right back. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of like a chilly day out there. So we're just gonna have some leftovers and a nice warm bread. So when you're trimming these, I always just trim them on a 45, just like that. More like that, actually. I don't know if that goes. I'll tuck this in here. Still see it. Oh, there is a big spider. Come on. Oh, come on, and I'll put you outside. Just a minute, let me get something. Oh, there we go. Oh, come on. I'm going to put you outside. There we go. Where am I here? As he goes up my sleeve. Oh, I lost him. Oh, come on. Okay, gotta get him outside. My mother-in-law just got here. BRB. Okay, that was exciting. My mother-in-law just stopped in. She just brought some veggies for my chickens. Anyways, while she was here, I had a look in my other gardens and I plucked out some teeny tiny zinnias that I had. So I'm just gonna add them into the arrangement just for some more color and filler, I guess. Oops. Just kind of tuck them in just so they kind of peek out, give us some color here and there. While I was outside talking with my mother-in-law, Gus, our cat, decided he was going to hop up here and play around with the arrangement. Luckily, I came in to get my car keys and saw him. I don't know if you can see him here. He is right beside us on the stool. He doesn't like to be left out, in case you can't already tell. Whoops. Oh geez Louise, there we go. So yeah, that was, I caught him in the act, little devil. And he is literally right here, sticking his nose in. I wonder if I can pick him up, as he doesn't. He loves flowers. I guess he gets it honestly, because so do I. But like, if I can't leave them out on the counter overnight because he likes to jump up and he just like plucks them out. I have no idea. I don't know why, but that's just what he does. This is not sitting quite how I want it to sit. There we go. Sometimes you just kind of have to play around with them just to get them to kind of like nestle in where you want them. Let's do yellow in here. Now these little zinnias that I picked, they've got short stems, so I'll just make sure that I keep the water filled right up for them. Oh Gus, stop that. You are bad. Like, he knows that he isn't supposed to be doing this, so he doesn't more. That's just how he is. One more there, and another one tucked in there. Okay, there we go. So it's kind of hard to see those little zinnias tucked underneath there. They're so pretty. I love this kind of arrangement, just kind of thrown together. So that's so pretty. Kind of got a bare spot in there, but that's okay. I'm sure if I forget to take it off the counter, it'll be demolished by morning anyways, but yeah. So there we have it. I don't know what side. I think I like this side the most. It's so pretty. There we go. So we're just gonna make some cheesy beer bread to go with supper tonight. So we're just having some leftover cabbage roll soup. That's a recipe that I did create, and I can add it down below if you're interested. I'll probably do a video on it sometime. It's a really good one for this time of year. So we're going to have that. I'm going to reheat that, and then we're going to have some warm cheesy beer bread. So it is it's one of my favorites, and it's probably the easiest bread recipe you will ever make, which makes it even better. Alrighty, so to start, so I just shredded some cheese. So it calls for, I think, 1 1/4 cups of cheese. I usually use old cheddar, but I have used every other kind there is. So it's just kind of at your preference. Gus! This cat, I swear to God, every time I try to record. So anyways, 1 1/4 cups of old cheddar cheese. In the bowl here, my mixing bowl, I have 2 3/4 cup of flour. So to the flour, we're going to add 4 teaspoons baking powder. I thought I had my measuring spoons out, but I do not. So 4 teaspoons, and you don't really have to be very accurate. I don't normally even measure this recipe, but for you guys I will. So put in 2. This bread, I love it for many reasons, but another one of the reasons why I love it so much, it's something that you can mix together and put into your pan and then cover it up and refrigerate it. It'll keep in the refrigerator. When you're ready to bake it, I would say probably pull it out of the fridge for about half an hour and then pop it into the oven and just bake it regular. It bakes 350 for 45 to 50 minutes. I usually do it a little bit longer because I like the cheese on the top to kind of get like a little brown and crispy, and then the inside is like nice and warm and fluffy, so it's kind of a nice combination. So to that, we're going to add a tablespoon of sugar. So let's grab our sugar here. And again, it doesn't have to be perfectly accurate. I rarely measure things. And some salt, so half a teaspoon of salt. There we go. And that looks good. I don't usually add the total amount of salt because I try to cut back our salt intake. Not really any reason in particular, I just don't love salt. Plus, if you season something well enough, it shouldn't need salt in my opinion. And then we're going to do a 1/4 teaspoon dry mustard. So just this brand, you could probably get fancy, but this is the one that works. You're gonna pop that in there. At this point is when we would add about a cup of cheese, and then we save the 1/4 cup to go on top. I do not measure this part. I just make sure that I leave a good amount to go on top. So probably like a good handful for the top. And of course, just get it all out of our cheese grater. Throw that in the sink for later. And I like to give it just a little mix before I pour the beer in, just to make sure like everything is well incorporated. I also find if the cheese gets a little bit coated with the flour, once the beer goes in there, it doesn't get like all stuck together. Kind of like, if I find it just is kind of like a little bit more evenly distributed. Okay, so that's it. Now all we need to add is a bottle of beer. Doesn't matter the kind. I typically like a Miller High Life. It just has to be room temperature. So this one was in the fridge. So I had to pull it out about half an hour before, and I put it in some warm water just to heat it up. So that's a little trick if you don't have a room temperature one. Of course, the pop top. Oh, there we go. All right, so we just kind of pour it in. It's gonna bubble up because of that, well, because it's beer and the baking powder. So you put the whole bottle in there. Oops. And you're just gonna give it a good mix. And just like any baked good, you don't really want to over mix it. This one, I typically get in there with my hands, which I will do. I just like to make sure like nothing is kind of like stuck to the sides. I'm gonna get out my pan and my parchment paper first. I just find parchment paper is a little bit easier, so let me just grab that. So we just use a loaf pan. And some parchment paper. I don't know what my dogs are barking at. Again. So we'll just set it like that, and then when we add this in, it'll just kind of like pat it down. All right. And there's Gus back. You will see his ears momentarily, I'm sure. He likes to be involved. So you just kind of give it a good knead in there. Make sure that everything is incorporated, and just kind of make sure, like you'll see, I can pick this up. In the bottom of the pan, there's still some like dry stuff in the bottom of the bowl, excuse me. So we're just gonna make sure all of that gets kind of like stuck in here into it. We don't want anything left behind. And it is gonna be like a fairly sticky consistency, but that's good. It's nice and moist on the inside after it's baked. Okay, so I think that's got it all. Oh, I literally just pick it up out of there and plop it in here. And the parchment paper, it'll just kind of like work itself out. And now is the hard part, getting it off your fingers. Stuck on the bottom there. And just kind of like spread it out. It does not have to be perfect. That is one thing that I absolutely love about this recipe, is it does not have to be perfect, and it will come out looking beautiful and tasting even better. So I just try to get most of it off my hands here. And we'll just spread it out a little bit more. So the thing I love about parchment paper, and because this has quite a bit of cheese in it, once it's done baking, you let it rest for a couple minutes, and then you literally just like lift up the paper and set it out. Okay, so we're gonna plop the cheese on the top. We'll just give it a little spread out. This is probably a little bit too much cheese for the top, but that's okay. We like cheese. Okay, so that is what it looks like going into the oven. So I'm gonna put it into the oven, so it's going to bake, like I said, 350. I've got it at 400, so we'll just turn it down a little bit. So it's gonna bake at 350, 45 to 50 minutes. I'm gonna let mine go. I set the timer for 45, but I always let it go for 50. And then we will pull it back out. So in it goes. One thing I wanted to mention too is this recipe is awesome because you can add to it. So as I mentioned in a previous video, we often like to add jalapenos out of the garden. I completely forgot about that when I was getting ready for this recipe. So normally I would just dice up 2 jalapenos, mix them in, and then put some on top with the cheese too. I've also done it with bacon bits. Brandon eats a lot of bacon, so we often have leftover bacon. So you can incorporate bacon in there. I've done it with chives, garlic. It's really good to add some garlic in there, or caramelized onions. Basically anything savory. I do have another recipe that's just a beer bread, and you could, there goes Gus again, you could make that one like a little bit more sweet, so you could use like a pumpkin beer. I feel like that would be really good this time of year. But those are just a couple different ideas. Okay, so I'm gonna get this kitchen cleaned up, and we'll see you back here in 50 minutes. Okay, let's see where we're at. Look at that, like so perfect. So I'm gonna leave it out on the counter for probably about 10 minutes, and then I'll show you when we cut into it. Okay, alrighty, so I've let the beer bread cool for, I don't know, 5, maybe 10 minutes. So let's take a look. So like I said before, you can just grab a hold of it, lift it out, set it down. I'm gonna set this aside. Okay, let's cut into it. Oh my goodness, look at that. It's so yummy. And the best part, of course, is the peel. There's so much extra cheese. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh my gosh, can you see the steam coming off of it? Of course, you have to have butter. And It's kind of cold here today, so my butter is a little bit firm, but it won't take long to melt. That is so good. I can't wait to have that with supper. All right, guys, well, thank you so much for joining me. I'm gonna go have some beer bread with my supper, and we'll see you next time. Have a great night. Take care.